Hello, and welcome back to another author chat. I'm Remilia, and today I have this other lovely author with me. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. My name is Oskar Östlund. I'm a Swedish 36-year-old horror sci-fi author from the lovely town of Gävle, Sweden. I have written about two books, working on a third, and have also written a number of short stories and role-play adventures.
Where can people find your books?
My books can be found
Yeah.
right now on Amazon, or my book. Since the I have a kind of a predicament with the Swedish one, which I can present. This is the Swedish one. Uh, this is not no longer available right now because I had a falling out with the publishing company, and because they pretty much, well, I don't know how much I can swear on this, but they pretty
You
much
can
ran me
swear as
over.
much as you want.
Well, in layman's terms, then they fucked me over. So I got mad at them, and I decided to take that Swedish book and turn it into this book, the English variant, called The Wolf's Time. You can say it's my unabridged version of the Swedish book because, as a publishing company, like to remove stuff from the finished Swedish piece. I've included those parts in this one, and I've heard from everyone that has read both of them that this is the better one. And this is also more visceral and brutal. That can be found on Amazon, and I will publish the follow up to that book on Amazon as well when it comes. It's almost finished, kind of in the working phases of finishing it, like with the inlays and the covers and proofreadings and whatnots.
Almost there.
Yes, almost there.
And you said you wrote short stories. Can they be found somewhere as well? Or
Not of this moment because I haven't found any. I've never had like an actual author website that I'm pleased with because I haven't found like an UI that works for me, a UX, whatever. So I'm leaning against WordPress right now, and I'm hoping to publish them there when I get the chance because it's like a collection of all different kind of things. I'm thinking about releasing one of them this Halloween, which is this very brutal and very gory slasher story. That's only about 60 pages or so. It's not a big one. Uh, and some other things that I'm going to release for free.
exciting. I am like I have a few questions today.
Yeah.
And since we're currently talking about your writing, I wanted to ask what inspired you to write The Wolf's Time.
Well, first of all, since like going way back, I think I have to thank my mom for that. Because ever since I was very, very tiny, she always read to me and told me stories and made up stories. But I think it was like a natural part. She was a fantasy geek in the 70s and read a bunch of Tolkien's extra stuff. And I think she read parts of the first books of the Wheel of Time, I think, but I'm not sure. Anyway, she's my like she was the one that sparked my interest, and during my teenage years, or sorry, I can actually back that up. During my Since this is in English and we have a different school system in Sweden compared to like the British and the American. When I was about 12 or 13 years old, which is in Swedish terms seventh grade, we had this project during our Swedish educational where you had to write a novel. And I remember my novel, like other people wrote this stuff about the most mundane thing ever. I wrote about a murder, and I don't know what happened exactly. There was a bunch of figures. I had really a lot of characters, and this there was this old lady that got murdered. It was like a dark satire comedy horror murder mystery thing full of pratfalls and stupid shit. It was so dumb, but that was like my first true story. I actually found it. I have it here. uh, it sucks really, but I got it in my bookshelf, and during that same time, I kind of noticed that shit. I like to like tell stories. I like to give others imaginary world to be in. So I started writing roleplay adventures for like roleplay groups. I remember we had this group of friends that played the Swedish role playing game Mutant from the Free League, I think they're called in English. I never got to join them because they were like, "Lol, noob." But I got to write for them. I got to write their adventures for them. So that became a thing, and I became like a popular DM among some groups for writing stories. And there were Dungeons and Dragons, of course, but I was never into Dungeons and Dragons, like dragons and knights and stuff like that. I leaned more towards like I was an edgy goth kid, so I leaned towards like Vampire the Masquerade, and there was a Swedish role playing game called Cult that was like the devil's tools in the Christian 80s. Because it had like spells for like sexual magic and stuff like that. It was very dark themes, and we had our own Swedish version of Dungeons and Dragons called Dragons and Demons, which was like Dungeons and Dragons but Dark Souls level of difficulty. Like you spent like 2 days writing a character and then you died after half an hour. But that's where it all began, I think. I mean, this whole book, this first book, was actually an old role playing story. And I was at Discord with my old group of friends who were in the book, actually, the same group of guys. And one of them told me, like, why don't you write about that stuff? I had this idea of like, take our group of dysfunctional kids, teenagers. They're assembling a weekend for a lawn party, which we always did exactly at that spot in the book. And what if something really bad happened? And then you like throw in some Stranger Things, you throw in some aliens, you throw in some visceral fucking gore, military action, and like survival esque themes like crazy. And well, and then there you go. So it was probably like one of my friends actually asked me, one of those old friends asked me, like, just write it. And I was like, okay. So I wrote it. And here we are.
It's always nice to hear like the background to uh, stories.
That one has a really real background up until the shit hits the fan.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed it after I got over the my body will make me feel the smell. Since I also grew up in the area, so I know the smell of
Yeah,
skutskär.
we can probably emphasize this for the listeners. This town that this is on the front page of my book, the English one, which I just want to say this: the Swedish version was AI done, the cover, which I opposed because I fucking loathe it. But I actually wrote this one myself, and you can't make it out too much. But that is a factory, the industrial area of Skutskär, which is probably the one thing this small backwater town is most known for, because that factory makes the entire area around it smell like shit. So that's kind of what you grew up in. So it's not so strange that you're kind of weird.
Yeah.
Uh, but that's like that's almost the factory almost became like a character in itself in the book also because I couldn't not describe it. It's such a
No.
pungent thing for anyone who's been there.
And like I don't often pass through since I'm like on the other side of Gävle,
Yeah.
but just like having passed through a few times, you know it.
Oh yeah. You cannot not for. I mean, you can't miss it. If it is
Yeah,
production
no.
day, you'll smell it.
Then I think I've just passed through only on production days. You mean you have breaks from the smell?
Oh yeah. There are some days There are some days where we actually discussed back then. We started to go numb to the smell because we learned to live with it. But some days are actually like if you've been your this was like in later years when we went to Gävle for school. Once you got older, when you got back to school, when you've been away from it a whole day and you get back to it and it's not the factory is not in production, you can't smell anything. It's like, oh, is this what it is? And then like the next time the factory is in production, it will hit you like a sucker punch, and it smells like, oh, it's
Yeah.
raw sewage. It's horrible. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
the factory.
Yeah. Uh, and it's an awful smell.
Yeah,
I sincerely hope most people who read your book haven't been to Scoot Square so they don't like get distracted.
I was hoping that I can like lure people there to. actually witness this because I mean I can diss and crochet that Skutskär all I want, but I actually love the small town because it's still my home. It's like I have a special
Yeah.
relationship to it. It's actually very beautiful out there, but you know that factory just looms over everything.
Yeah. Feel like we have the same thing over on this side with like, oh yeah, the only thing we're known for are the ski resort, and I hate it. I really feel like it's also like, yeah, I hate being here in the middle of fucking nowhere, but it's still home.
Home is where the heart is, always. Home is home.
And it's like with siblings. Since it's home, you're allowed to diss it as much as you want.
And I throw tons of shit at Skutskär in the book, actually. But I hope that you can like read between the lines and see that I actually love the place.
Yeah.
And it's like it's a personal love letter to my youth, my teenage years,
Yeah, it
and
really
my
felt
friends, of course.
it felt like at the core it was like a lived teenage experience if you overlook all the crazy things.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And there's a lot of crazy things in there.
Yeah, it's a shit show in the best way.
How long have you? How far have you gotten?
I have like 15% left.
You're really at the end.
Yeah,
Which means they've gone really bad.
I had I did need to take a break the past few days when I couldn't
Oh yeah,
focus.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But ha- I am the kind of person who when I read something I'm like maybe I'm not in the mood to read right now, but like okay, I can pick it up for a few minutes, and then I can't put it down. And it's very much like I was sitting here last night and like I should go to sleep
That's the biggest
soon,
compliment you can give
soon.
someone. Yeah, that's the biggest compliment you can give a writer, actually.
I will not give you the compliment that it gave me nightmares because I think I'm immune to
Oh yeah, yeah,
horror
yeah.
things giving me nightmares.
But that's like that was one thing that I really I'm not I'm not into. I mean, it's funny because I've had reactions like that. Oh, so this was so scary, but okay, sure. But that's not my goal. My goal is more like when you read it, I want you to feel like, oh fuck, this is bad.
Yeah.
And then you read it and you think, oh god, no, oh shit, oh fuck, and then you like when you get to the next page and it actually happens, what you've built up, it gets more like, oh, I can't believe it did that. Okay, because I like to. That was a thing actually, because if you have 15% left, I mean, it's not actually a spoiler. I mean, it's a horror show.
No.
They're
Yeah, but
teenagers. I mean, you can pretty much guess that a lot of them is gonna die.
yeah.
Uh, and I kill them in various ways, in brutal ways, in unforgiving ways, and in what I like to call shock ways, shocking ways, because I want you to like read and get to know a person and then flip the page, and then in the next page he's dead. You have no chance
Yeah.
of saving him. You have no chance of building up to it. He just dies.
But I also like that because sometimes when like media, especially anime, is great at this, like
Uh-huh.
we will get let's get backstory and then you know they're dying. I did not feel that reading your book for any of the deaths. It was like you get to know them and it doesn't really feel like okay, it's about to come now.
Thank
And
you.
I really like that.
That's really good to hear because that was like what I was going for because I don't like that. I mean, it's a cliche now, but like this
Yeah.
this whole thing like, oh, I'm gonna retire next week.
Uh,
Oh fuck, you're dead. You're pretty much dead.
yeah,
Yep.
or like here, let's give a backstory for a character we didn't really care about before.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the things I can't stand when I'm reading. Like you have this character in the beginning that you know nothing about at all, and then it gets to a part where you are gonna write his or her death. And then like in the page before it's like, oh, he was this guy and he loved this and oh he looked forward to this his entire life and oh sorry
Yeah.
he died. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
stand that.
No.
That was one thing that I really didn't like that the publishing did with the Swedish version because they cut so much background material for some of the
Oh.
characters, and it's like it killed that entire vibe, and it felt more like I had placed people there to die.
Oh.
So I didn't like that part. I was really upset with that. So like that's also one of the reasons why I broke with them. But hey, everyone's new. the first time when you're getting a publishing, and you got to learn the ropes as you go.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I don't think it gets easier. It gets a bit easier, but it doesn't get easy. There's
Oh
always
yeah,
new things to realize and learn. Like, I was considering, like, okay, should I read the English version or the Swedish version? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not reading a Swedish version because I have read like, one or two books these past years in Swedish.
yeah. And I love writing in English. I mean, that
Yeah,
feels more natural for me than writing in Swedish. Even though I'm
same.
working at a project right now with a friend, who a project I can't talk about yet,
Yeah,
with a book, and that's in Swedish, and that's because I'm working with her on it. That makes me want to write it in Swedish because her Swedish helps my Swedish get better.
yeah,
And her language, like, it's perfect in Swedish. So I kind of want to hone in on that because I also have that same language in my Swedish version. And like when we mixed our writing styles, it just turned out perfectly.
yeah.
So that I'm excited about. But like speaking of English books, I have some books that I had for inspiration regarding my
Ooh,
English. And the first book, which is probably, I'm just gonna check a thing with the widget because isn't the cam like mirrored?
I if it depends on your settings. I think I have changed mine, so
Which side is the window on for you when you see my cam?
left.
All right, so it's not mirrored. Anyway, this is probably my absolute favorite book of all time.
I've heard about that one. I think.
Battle Royale. This is by Koshin Takami. This is a Japanese book that came out that was published in '97, I think. I think I've owned 3 or 4 copies of this book because I read them to pieces, literally. I mean, you can see this one is like,
Yeah.
but this is probably one of my favorite books because this one has the story. The premise is a group of well, a class actually, a school class of like 40 Japanese students, ages 15, gets taken to an island and forced to fight to the death, last man standing style, in a neo-fascistic government in Japan, somewhere in the future. And it's like this homage at Lord of the Flies, and I just love it. And without this book, I don't think you'd have like the battle royale games we have today, like Fortnite and um, DayZ and Battle Player Unknowns,
Yeah.
uh, because it all came from this, I think. So this is one, and this is brutal. This is, I mean, it's Japanese. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's unhinged violence, and it's just my absolute favorite. And it's also my favorite movie because they made a movie of this. Don't see the follow-up movie, the second one, because it's dog
Yeah.
shit and has nothing to do with the first one. Just see the first, and don't read the manga
Okay.
because the manga is pretty much just hentai. There are so
Eh,
many tits and ass shots in that manga that it's kind of like takes away from the core plot of this book, which is really good. So that one
yeah,
I can
maybe not the
recommend.
right place for the hentai then.
No, 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 no.
No.
And then of course there's this one. This is Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. Probably an anti-Western. Um, have you read this?
No.
This is the most violent book I've ever read. This is not for the faint of heart. This book is evil. It's about a real gang actually called the Glanton Gang, which they were like filibusters along the Texas American border during the Civil War, the pre-Civil War times in America, and they actually hunted scalps, Indian scalps for the Native American scalps for the Mexican government. But then they are like the most vicious band of murderers and horrible people. And you follow this kid. His only name in the book is the kid, and you follow this journey, and it's really, but it's beautiful at the same time. That's the weird part. The language is so beautiful, and I've channeled so much of Cormac McCarthy in my writing because in all this violence, I want to like when he paints this picture of those borderlands of desert and all the violence that actually happened there is beautiful in a sort of way. So I love this book. I recommend it to people, even though you might be disgusted by it, because it's not for the faint of heart. It's brutal, but it also shows the times because we have a very romanticized view of the Western era of cowboys and like the Native Americans and everything. This is a brutal story about survival and death and horror and everything. And it got this in all Cormac McCarthy's books. There's this supernatural element in them. I won't spoil it in this one, but I think you'll understand when you read it. It's like an ominous feeling of is this a real person or is this some form of supernatural entity that is traveling with them? Have you seen No Country for Old Men?
No,
A
it
movie
is.
with Josh Brolin and a murderer called Anton Chigurh.
I am really bad at movies that aren't
All right.
like 90s splatter and anime right now. So
This Cormac McCarthy wrote that novel, No Country for Old Men, that the Coen brothers turned into a movie. And in that movie, there is this killer that's hunting the protagonist, and he has this shotgun with a silver silencer, which almost looks like a scythe, and his haircut reminiscence that of a hoodie, like Death. So you're always wondering if he is Death, if he's supposed to be Death, the Grim Reaper. So he always has that kind of supernatural element in these stories. And then, of course, the last one, which is also a huge inspiration, both language wise and, of course, being a sci fi nerd, the Alien books, the novelizations by Alan Dean Foster, of the movies, of course. The movies came first, but this is a novelization of those movies, and these are terrific if you're a fan. They are so good, and I've read them. I have this on my screen as I wrote the English translation because I actually nicked sentences from Alan Dean Foster. Like I want to use that style of. So those are my three main inspirations for writing the English one when you're speaking about languages and such, because all those three writers have a very special language that I tried to convey in my book. I've
uh,
always read English books, preferably in front of Swedish books. That's my takeaway.
yeah, yeah, I wasn't always like that. I I almost failed English uh, in Swedish like 8th grade. I then I got older and got access to the internet.
And you wrote a really good book yourself in a real good English.
Thank you. I
That
had
that was
lots
that
of
that was a weird story for me, I must tell you, because that's not something that I'm used to reading. But I read your book, and I didn't put it down. I just had to continue because I've never read something in which I mean you have to you have to like try to keep up here. But as I read your book, I kept seeing all those scenes as anime scenes. I don't know how you managed to do that, but it was really on the nose, and I liked it. It wasn't my type of story, actually. I haven't read much of those, but I think you did a fantastic job at it. And I have to know, like, I think I asked you this already, but you must have like a follow up
it's like not a direct follow-up, but it is a year later, same universe, same kind of circle, but with like some of the characters, the side characters you meet are the main characters instead.
because this feels like kind of its own mythos almost. I'm guessing. I'm just gonna like throw it out there. Did you like map this out? Did you have like you have this world
Yeah, I have
vision, right?
kind of
Yeah.
a lot of it, not everything, and uh, a lot of it that's not like, yeah, this is just never gonna see any page time, but I know about it.
But there is like there is lore for it.
There is lore,
Yeah.
uh,
Because
very much.
you can tell while reading it, like, oh, this goes deeper.
Thank you.
Because it actually feels like that when you read it. You know that oh, this has this has some substance behind it.
There will be 2 books more in the series or like in the universe,
Yeah.
and they will have a little bit more of the lore creeping through, especially the 3rd one that I haven't even started yet.
All right.
But a lot of it was anime inspired, apart from the few characteristics that was just blatantly inspired by my other favorite character. which is from the Ink Heart series. And I was actually gonna ask you, but you have already like talked about it. Uh, if you usually start writing in English or in Swedish.
Both, I would say. Uh, more days now when I write my own short stories or shorter stories, I actually write in English at once. And the follow up to the Wolves Time, I actually began writing in English. That will be an English book, primarily because it has had better. I mean, Sweden is such a sucky country for writers because you have either it's true crime or it's feel good.
Yeah, yeah,
And I mean, the project I'm working at right now is sort of a true crime, but still there are elements of other stuff in it. But like sci-fi, horror, that kind of stuff, like it's a broader, wider audience in the US and in Europe in general. So I kind of took the I took the approach of writing the follow-up book, the second book in English at once because I have readers waiting for it in the US, and I have a few readers in UK waiting for it, and also the Swedish readers here wants the English version rather than a Swedish one because most of them are fantasy sci-fi geeks like me who spent their youth reading in English anyway, so it's
yeah.
more at home for them.
And I feel like a lot of things in like fantasy, sci-fi media overall is like you consume it in English.
Yeah. Yeah, and like there are some short stories that I've written in Swedish that actually the Swedish language is well it is what it is. But
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
um it's kind of raw and brutal. It can be fitting for like horror and stuff like that. I'm not saying that, but the readers are not as many here as they are abroad, and that kind of takes it away from me to want to write it those kind of stories in Swedish. But some of those short stories, which I'm hoping to publish, are actually in Swedish, and they have actually turned out pretty good in Swedish, even though it's kind of a boring language. Um, but there are so many other words, like there are so many other words to use in the English language than there is in the Swedish.
Yeah.
So I just like it more. It's funnier to write,
Yeah.
and there are so much more nastier ways to describe someone being ripped apart in English than in Swedish. And I mean, it's just so much more brutal. I love it.
Yeah, and it kind of like sounds more like both more brutal and it can sound like prettier instead of Swedish, which yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I actually, it's kind of hard to answer, but I think I prefer to write in English at once.
Yeah, because I know some people are writing like time simul simultaneous blah, you know what I mean.
Simultaneously.
Uh, yes, thank
Yeah.
you. Uh, so I was just like curious.
No, I pretty much I chose English for the follow-up book because it felt natural.
And you don't like have any thoughts of like translating the second book into Swedish or
Yeah, I'm gonna
something
do
like
it. I
that?
mean, I'm actually I'm gonna include the parts from the English one that got shit canned in this at the Swedish publishing agency that I was with. And I'm gonna re-release it in Swedish, the first part, and I'm gonna actually release the second part in Swedish as well and send it out to agencies. But I'm just gonna rewrite the Swedish one first, like those parts
Yeah.
that they cut, and then I'm gonna send it out again and let's see. I'm gonna see if it gets picked up or what happens with it.
And so you're like you're self-publishing the English version, but having the Swedish version traditionally published.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or I did. I pulled it, so it's
Yeah,
the
but like
Swedish
it's your
version is
plan to do the same.
yeah. And hey, I don't know. For like from a year from now, after the translation is done, maybe I'll release the Swedish ones on Amazon as well. So
Yeah.
I can do it in my own way and without the because let's face it, publishers actually gets less and less needed for the common
Yeah.
man who wants to publish a book because there are so many ways now. There are so many ways to do it and do it professionally. And like just like take a tour of Instagram. If you can't do your own book cover, take a tour of Instagram. There's someone who can write, or sorry, there's someone who can paint, and you probably like, hey, can you paint me a book cover for $50? I'm like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
They will do it. There are like there are guides, tons of guides on YouTube on how to do the inlays, how to format everything, the fonts. There's so much help
Yeah.
way to do it. So the only thing you're probably gonna need a publisher for today is the marketing,
Which you
which
still
is
need to do a bit of yourself.
yeah, and you always need to market yourself
Yeah.
anyway. But it is the hard part of selling it into like different shows and different reviewers and like the Swedish review board and stuff like that. That gets easier with a publisher because they
Yeah.
have the contacts already. But other than that, I'll say to anyone who wants to write, like do it yourself. Like
Yeah.
try it out for yourself first.
Yeah. I feel like that's my way to just like I will do this myself, or
Yeah.
like have someone do, like I have artists who illustrate the covers for like the main novels. My novella, I did the cover for myself because I'm still learning. I have decided to learn
You painted that cover yourself?
the novella, not the novel.
Okay.
So I have a time traveler novella, which is basically like it's my newsletter freebie. I have a copy because I wanted it.
Yeah, because I have to open Kindle now because the cover for your story is really well done. Who made it
Yeah.
for you?
Uh, Lullaby on Instagram. I was just looking around at artists and I was like, yeah, I want her to make this cover. And then I have another artist in a similar style for the next cover because I decided like I want similar styles but different artists just to
Yeah, because this is
like
beautiful.
yeah, I love it.
So
um
so you do it. You like like do you name your books at once? Like do you know what they're going to be called?
no, some of them,
Yeah,
but some of them not. Keep Me Breathing was like I struggled so much to find a name for it, and it was just my placeholder title
that's a good
for the
name.
longest time. Like the second book, I actually had the name before I started writing it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I also had that with my follow-up book. I knew what I wanted to call it. Um, and it's no, I mean, I published it. So it's called The Wolf's Legacy, and I just I kind of knew it at first it was planned for like 3 books, but then the more I wrote, I was like, you know, I'm gonna finish this in the second one. I'm not gonna torment these characters anymore. So they're like the few that will survive this story, and they are few, if any. They will have to look forward to like years in therapy. There's no happy ending.
Yay!
Um, I haven't planned for a happy ending in this book at all. So I kind of knew at once where I wanted to. Uh, but with the first book, the name actually kind of I didn't have a name at all when I sent it to the publisher. I had like a suggestion. I had the I had the Swedish tagline like a skymning saga, or as I call the English one, a Swedish saga macabre. Um, but I didn't have the name.
It's so hard.
Yeah, sucks. And also like deciding the cover. That was really hard. I was trying to. At first, I was like, should I take the approach of these feel good authors and do these covers that you see everywhere, like the rose petals and stuff? And I was like, no, 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 that's not gonna fit. A skull? No, no. So what I'm gonna do? Let's write something. Let's go for like an '80s movie poster vibe. And
And it
and I
suits
and
it
I
really well.
yeah, and I always liked that. It was like it's kind of a homage. I mean, you read it almost to end now, so you know that there's so much nerd culture in this book, and like homages to several things. Um, I mean, and I've stolen like it. I mean, or stolen. It's like homages, but there's a character in the book that gets nabbed, um, and he gets rescued by this group of elite soldiers, and they have a very tough battle going uphill, and you never see the battle. You only hear it through his ears. He looks for where the battle takes place behind him, so you can't see the battle. You can just guess that whatever's coming behind them is not good, and it's a really fierce battle. That whole scene is like a homage to the Hive escape scene from Aliens. Because you the only thing you see and hear are the Marines walking backwards to retreat. You never see the aliens. You can just guess how many there are. But you understand from the fire they are laying down that there's a lot of them,
Yeah.
and it's not very good. So that's like that scene is just nicked wholesome from the Aliens movie. So it's like just a Swedish homage.
Yeah, I just had to think like, yeah, I remember that fight. And then you get to know how that there's a lot of them because you see them late.
Oh yeah, and since you have like 15% left, there is a lot of more. There's a lot more not very positive things that's gonna happen
Yeah.
before it's over.
I had a glimmer of hope when they found the third one. Like when they found Jesper. I was like, he's alive.
Oh god. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
I know. Well, you know
yeah, I know.
that
I think that was one of the parts where I would just like silently squealed like
that's because that's the kind of like that's the horror emotion I want to like pull out. I don't want to like to oh that's so scary. Ooh. I was like I'm more going for that kind of reaction where you're sitting there and go like that. Like oh crap.
yeah, like from the beginning it was like they never found him, they never saw him. He will come back.
And
Like
there's
it,
always like playing with the horror of you not knowing what has he been through. What has he been through? Like the one that gets taken when he's trying to escape on the bike.
yeah.
You never see him again. What happens with him? Like you fill those blanks in yourself in your head, and that becomes more horrible than anything I can write in text.
Yeah, but still like it was like, yeah, we have already seen the creatures showing up now.
Yeah.
But Jesper disappeared like right at the crash and then it was like I what happened?
Yeah. What happened? I actually have a very detailed part of describing what happened to him, but I didn't include it because I always thought that it would be more like a horror factor if you didn't know.
Yeah. I I actually really like when you don't know everything.
Yeah, and I wanted that to be a part of the story. I wanted you to feel as lost as the teens, trying to figure out what's happening, and then you get the part of the military, and you realize they have no clue. They don't know what this is. They don't know how to deal with this. No one is.
No.
No one knows how to deal with this, and that's
Yeah.
when you get like, oh, fuck. Okay, yeah, that's bad.
Like honestly, sometimes it felt like the teenager had more of an idea of what was going on.
Yeah, and that's the
Yeah.
whole. That was me playing actually with this like remember that these all the teams are based on real people, every one of them that I knew or know, some of which I'm still seeing today. Um, and we all had this. I mean, I talked to some of them about this plot, and because you're a teenager at that part, like you're not that emotionally. Um, you say developed or like you're like you're not a grown up yet, so you don't know what to expect from certain things happening. However, the adults, having seen everything, they know life, they've been through life, they know a lot more. Um, they have a harder time adapting to something weird or bad going on than a teen maybe had because they haven't seen everything yet. Well, like these kids, they grow up like in the following book, they have adapted more to this new world than the adults have. And I'm not saying that they have become like survivor super teens that can survive it. No, they are more accepting of fuck, this has gone bad. Like really bad. But we have to solve it, all right? While some of the adults they face are more emotionally wrecked and broken.
Yeah, I feel like it also like helped that you have a bunch of teenage nerds.
Yeah. Because like you take what you know, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they try to like to make it real, to make this very out of the world event real. They take something they do know and try to apply that into reality to like make sense of it.
yeah,
Well, fuck, maybe they work like the aliens in Independence Day. Who knows? Like they actually have that conversation in the book, or are they like the arachnids from Starship Troopers, or are they like the xenomorphs from Aliens? And they all try to like just to make the reality seem to make the reality make sense to them in a
yeah.
world that's like turned upside down overnight.
And it yeah, like I think that was one of the things that made me feel like, okay, they kind of has an easier time to understand this weird thing instead of like the adults trying to make sense of it in like reality terms.
Yeah, and I had so many, I had so many like armchair suggestions for the story from the publishers. Like this lady that was clearly not like into this kind of stories. She asked me like, "Oh, don't you think they aren't they surviving a lot?" Well, like, yeah. I mean, I kind of axed them off pretty brutally between pages, but I mean, if I just fucking killed everyone on the second page, it wouldn't be a story. Like you have to give them some plot armor sometimes, or make them survive a
Yeah,
certain situation because they're kind of they're scrappy. They take what they have and they learn to live with it, and they like accept it pretty early on that this is a bad thing. We're not going to be able to do anything about it. We have to survive this. But the publishers had very funny ideas. There is a scene in the beginning, and I have this in the English version. There is actually a map of the entire area because I figure that English readers kind of like want to know how the area, surrounding area looks like, and they can zoom in on Google Maps and actually check out where the scout hut is, where they're having the lawn parties. I mean, I marked it out on a map, but they can find it on Google Maps and everything, and the bridges and the factory and everything, and the fire station. Uh, so there is this part in the beginning where they're down at this island, Roofcar Island, that is only connected to the land by two bridges. And the thing has just crashed. There's fire everywhere. They're kind of panicked because two people has gone missing already. So the proofreader actually suggested that why can't they just swim to the other side? And I was like, oh really? Swim? Yeah. Um, well, first of all, the place they have to swim over the Dal River, which is, I mean, the current there is really strong. I've tried to swim there with my friends during our youth, and we ended up out in the Baltic Sea. Uh, and also, this thing crashing, the thing you just been, are your first instinct to jump into the water and start swimming? So like all those kind of like ideas that came reading in was like, I mean, I have a story. Yeah, I mean, the Eagles could have fucking taken the ring to Mordor, but they didn't
yeah.
because plot.
And also teenagers.
Yeah. So a lot of those things made us clash, and not in a good way.
I can imagine. I
And I
actually
did,
really liked that your teenagers felt like teenagers, but not like too annoying to read teenagers, if
Yeah,
that makes
there's
sense.
I don't have any actually. I didn't think I did. I mean, some of my friends. I mean, my friends all like say, I want to die in this way," so I had to like adhere to certain things. But I didn't write any stereotypes in there because there weren't that many stereotypes. I mean, we had, of course, I mean, the guy that Christian and Tommy is based on. Yeah, he is a know-it-all in real life, and he is a leader type, and he was smart. He was the first one to come up with a suggestion for something. Peter, the guy that's pretty much fucking reckless. I mean, he was reckless in real life. He is like that still to this day. He is like, wow, I don't care. I mean, we could dare him into do pretty much anything in real life. I mean, we sat in our classroom. We were on the third floor. And we said, "Hey, Peter." His real name is not Peter, but
No.
you know, I was like, "Hey, Peter, can you climb the facade of the building?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then one of us said, like, I don't think you can do that." And he was like, "Oh yeah?" And then he just opened the window and started to climb. And so many of them, they aren't like stereotypes. They are the way they are written are the way they were in real life, actually. And Sandra, yeah, she was like that in real life.
Yeah.
Caroline too, and all the other ones, Jim, uh, Eric. I mean, most people think that Eric is based on me, but he isn't. There's very little of me in him, actually. So there are like in reality there are 30 people that are condensed into 13,
Yeah.
and I wanted a big gallery of players, and some people have said that it's hard to follow. But I couldn't do it any other way. I had to write it this way, and it's like it's hard to follow. Yeah, I'm sorry. Stick with it because the numbers are gonna get thinner
Yeah.
along the way. But
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of it was like, I feel like this is very, maybe not like stereotypical, but like, yeah, I knew people like this when I grew up. And when I think of Swedish teenagers, they're very much like fitting that image,
yeah,
if that makes sense.
yeah, and I mean, 2004 when I were that age, mopeds and nicotine were like the only things that mattered, and gaming, of course. It was like everything. It was all you could do in that town. So I mean, if someone actually reads these and thinks that these people are like stereotypes, or no, they are pretty much just a bunch of real teens
Yeah.
that we were. We were like this. And yeah, we cursed as much in real life as it is in the books also. We called each other all not. I mean, I had to censor actually parts in the book because some parts, some things we called each other lovingly with respect, um, were downright prolific. I mean, and you know, being from this part of Sweden also, that we curse a lot here. In this
Yeah.
particular region, we swear in like every sentence.
Absolutely. Most of us.
But I was actually the publishers also asked me like, "Do you curse this much in real life? I mean, did you call each other those names?" And I was like, "Yeah, I
Yeah.
censored it." I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
fuckwad, hey, bitch," like stupid shit like that every day.
It honestly feels very much like a pretty true representation of teenage life in this
Yeah,
area.
and thank you for that, for
Yeah.
noticing that.
Yeah, like I was thinking because I think the last time I thought about the book having like, oh, yeah, this character feels like a teenager, but it was so annoying was Fairy Tale. Yeah. Fairy Tale by Stephen King when
Yeah.
that came out. It was like, yeah, this is teenager. Can he just shut up? And can he just die already? But I didn't feel it here. Here it was like, yeah, yeah, okay. I am feeling a bit of secondhand embarrassment. Maybe I was a bit like this too, but it's okay.
There's like there's no room for them. I kind of get off easy in that regard because there is no much room for them to bicker and fight inwards with drama and stuff because they have to survive. Like they have to get out of this, so they don't have time to dwell on
Y yeah, but,
certain
like,
parts.
even in the beginning, you have
Oh yeah, of course, you're right
a
again.
bit
You're
more
right.
teenage life.
Yeah, but they're just loitering around, not doing shit. Right? Like that's what we did. We loitered and we smoked cigarettes. That's what we did.
Yeah, I was, kind of antisocial, but I just watched everyone.
I had like I tried to write because one of the girls that Caroline is supposed to be inspired from, she was kind of antisocial, but I didn't do it justice because it's hard writing when you're not sure exactly how that person views the area around her. It's kind of hard to put it in writing actually and
Yeah,
giving it justice. So I had to some of the parts where I included this certain person was when she got drunk because then it disappeared. So those times I borrowed from her like catalog of wording and the way she spoke. I wanted to write her in, but I just sensed that I couldn't do it justice. And a real person who suffered from antisocial feelings or something like that would have read that and said that's not at all how it feels. So I wouldn't
yeah.
have given it justice. So I kind of just left it out.
I feel like it was still like you have a human being here,
Yeah,
which for me is always like I am a very character focused consumer and writer. So for me, it's always like, okay, if I don't find the characters interesting, they it can have the most interesting plot ever. I won't care. Uh, Attack on Titan is very much like that in anime sense,
yeah,
but I cared. Like I can understand. Like it was kind of hard at first. You get here is a bunch of people to try to keep track on. Okay, who was who, but it felt like it's always like that with like big cast.
and I was like, I was taking inspiration from Battle Royale actually because there you have like 40 characters, and of course it only focuses on a few of them, but you kind of get the mindset of all of them when needs be. Um, like in a scene, you might start off in Eric's head, but at the end of the chapter, you're in someone else's head. So I had to find that way to like traverse all the characters to make them feel real.
Yeah, and I felt like
That
I
was
was never like confused of who are we with right now, which
that's
is
nice to hear, actually.
very impressive. It was more like in the beginning, like, okay, wait, which character was Tommy? Which
Yeah,
before you get to know them, like before you sort them out.
and the real Tommy, he was. I'm pretty sure he was like he grew up to become a killer or something. He was so weird because we that joke in the book they call him like the android because he doesn't have any feelings. Like he was like we actually called him like a robot or like a bot. It was like he had like this weird. He never spoke up, but like when he did, it was always like mimicking someone else, or it was like he had never had any. He was like a language model chatbot. He was such a weird guy, but that's also like there is a scene in the book where he actually starts caring for another person, and he has never felt those emotions before, so he's kind of weirded out by them.
Yeah, and I remember when I got there and I was like, Can you just get a hug?"
So that was nice that you picked up on that. I like that.
And then I was a bit disappointed,
Yeah,
or a bit sad.
yeah.
I think that's when I was like, "Yeah, I like this guy. I think I like this guy the most right now." And then like that, yeah, yeah,
But that relation between them, I mean, if for some reason you don't want it spoiled, stop listening now.
yeah,
He saves Caroline, right? She cares for him when he is wounded. So he does the only right thing. He saves her. She gets a guilt trip by him dying. And this is going to follow her. It follows her into the second book, actually, where she thinks of him certain times. So she carries him with her in a sort of somber but still beautiful way through the book. So it was nice that you picked up on that because that's kind of a plot device in the follow-up book uh, where she she has this moment thinking about him.
We love when characters don't die, even though
Yeah,
they're dead when they live through.
because some of these kids have faced their friends being like torn to shreds in front of them. That shit will haunt them.
For me, it always feels like in media where you have like a character is dead, but they live on through the people cares about them. It feels more respectful, kind of,
Yeah.
to the character. It feels like, okay, this death was impactful. It wasn't just sheep.
Yeah, and I wanted to convey that also that they don't just stop thinking about them because this is still very much in their heads. Like when they allow themselves to sit down and think for a while, they kind
Yeah.
of get back to the reality of fuck, our friends are dead. But
Yeah, and like
they are so much in this adrenal fucking steel ball all the time in the story that they don't have time to think about these things and they just have to move on. But when they do sit down, and there are a few parts of this in the second book, they actually get really fucking depressed
and
thinking about this,
imagine.
of course. I mean, but they still have
Yeah,
to like push those feelings aside for it to continue. And that starts to wear on some of them really hard, and Caroline especially.
I think I actually feel like you get that across really well, and especially like I remember one of the soldiers having this. I don't remember if he said it out loud or if it was like in his head. Like the real worst part will be when this is over.
I think he kind of looks at them and sees like he knows battle. He has seen battle
Yeah,
before. He knows what this will do to them when they are done, and he knows that there is no happy ending for them. They will the shit that they have seen, they will carry for the rest of their life if they survive this.
yeah, and I really like the inner turmoil of like why didn't we go back for this person, but why did we just move
Yeah,
forward instead of
and yeah,
going back?
I love that you picked up on that also because that's kind of the nothing makes sense in this situation because it's all chaotic. There
Yeah,
is no rhyme or reason to why, and they just have to like focus on surviving and how they do it, what they do, what the things they choose. None of it is like chalked up into this grand plan of strategic thinking. They have to do things right now, and they can't think of what ifs. But I do get that. Like, I mean, I try one of them like the real life Peter. He always like joked on the wrong occasions all the time. And one of them he says like this, but yeah, he will be pissed when he learned that we went back for this guy, but didn't come back for
yeah.
him. So, I mean, the others are like, fucking really now.
I think I can relate. It's a good coping mechanism.
But the second story is more. I've actually said this, and I've written this on when I did my cover reveal on Instagram. I said that the second book is going to be more visceral and more haunting because you actually start to see it tear on them, all this, and they know it has to end, and they know that they will probably not survive it, and they have to come to terms with that. I actually wrote in my cover reveal text that I won't do one bit of trigger warnings for this book. Because, first of all, if you pick up a book with the front cover that this book has, you have to be prepared for certain things. And if you pick this up and you have read the first one, then you know what to expect if this is going to be more
Yeah,
brutal. And I don't want to like I know I know the thing about trigger warnings, but I don't want to do them because I want the reader to have that emotion when they're reading it. And then if they close the book, throw it in the wall, throw it in the trash, whatever. I mean, sure, I've gotten an emotion out of you, but I won't do trigger warnings because that will spoil certain things that will happen in this book that are not great. They are one scene in particular is fucking horrifying, and I felt like shit writing it actually because it's kind of controversial. Uh, some will probably hate it, but it needed to be there for the factor of knowing what's at stake, and it's just a horrifying scene. I hate that scene. I hate that I wrote that scene, but it was needed,
yeah,
and I felt that at this moment, at this point in the book, that scene will picture the like the epicentrum of defeat for them. Like there is no hope. All hope is gone here. And then you get a glimmer of hope.
I'm excited and terrified for the second book already.
Yeah. I mean, I actually had a lot of problem writing the ending for this one because the ending was very emotional on very many levels. And I didn't want it to end, of course. You don't want it to end with characters like this that you have gotten to know, and I gotten to know them as I write them, and yada yada yada. But I just felt like the ending needed to be perfect. It needed to be good. It needs to be like this. I wanted to be this thing that I planned for when I started writing. And the first round was like, I didn't get that. So I had to rewrite the ending. And it has taken time. I wanted to release it in the summer. Now, hopefully, I'm going to release it around Christmas. Um, but hey, it needs to take the time. I mean, I need to give it the time it needs.
Yeah, it's better to take longer instead of rushing it.
Yeah, because I want the people to feel something when they read this, and I want it to feel real, and I want the characters to feel like this is the end of their journey. I have that as a tagline, like this is the end. Figuratively, for many of them, this is
Yeah.
the end. And I was about to say something, but that will spoil the ending. So
Yeah, I have kind of done the same thing with my second book. Like I wanted it out in the summer, but it was like, yeah, no, I can't make it the thing I want it to be until then.
yeah, you feel like you haven't given it justice.
Yeah.
You need like you need it to like I need to I need to make this good for the sake of the characters in the book that I'm telling about. That's fucking
Yes,
fictional. I know it, but I feel like I owe it to them to give this book a good
they're
ending.
my friends.
Yeah, exactly. I need to write their
Uh,
story good. It's kind of a fucked up way, but it's actually
yeah,
that's the way it is.
yeah, and like my book has one death in it,
Yeah.
uh, which was like it was not planned. It was not
Oh,
supposed to
really?
be that way. No, they were at first. It was like no, they will have to leave her behind. But that
Oh.
felt kind of cheap, and it felt like, oh wait, the things that need happen, the way the other characters need to grow, won't happen if she's still alive.
And when did you I mean, did you I mean, of course, I mean, you had the synopsis planned out and everything. Did you change it as you wrote it?
I changed a lot of things as I wrote it.
Okay.
Uh, it was at first supposed to be only from Fubuki's point of view,
Yeah.
and then it was like, yeah, I need this other character to have like one or two chapters, and then it was like, no, I think 2 weeks before my last beta feedback round,
Yeah.
I added all of Gideon's chapters, so the kids' chapters, because
Yeah.
I was like, okay, no, we need to know what's going on here. So there was a lot of shit going on. And
Yeah.
then, like, at first, it was like, yeah, uh, the whole kidnapping will just be, oh, he was at the wrong place at the wrong time, but it was this villain is a villain for kind of the sake of being a villain.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
Uh, And then it was like, yeah, no, wait, wait, let's add this whole orphanage thing that happened a long time ago. And then it went into the whole like Geekel situation with like him knowing it.
But actually, since I haven't, I mean, of course, I haven't read the original part without his
No.
part, but like the adding of his chapters must have. I mean, I liked that it was different viewpoints because that's a part I was the thing I can relate to there was the military parts with the home guard because I wanted it from the beginning. I wanted just the kids,
Yeah.
but then as I read, I was like, "Fuck!" I mean, readers need a pause from all
Yeah.
this stuff. It's actually nice to like jump to another viewpoint and get a pause from that and see something from another point of view. So I kind of guess that you it made it
Yeah,
better
and
for you.
actually, like Geekel was the one who was supposed to have like two chapters n- closer to the end at
Yeah,
first, uh, because like the whole Fubuki running away from him kind of thing was like I need this to be from his point of view. But then like the more it was like we don't get the full story, we need more.
yeah,
And
and that
Fubuki
was a
isn't
good. That
always
was
the
good.
right person.
I think that was a really good choice.
Yeah, I really like that. Now, when looking back, it's like it feels good to have all these different characters. There will only be three in the next book, but it's kind of a nice change from
Yeah,
five. And yeah, I'm very much just like I'm writing and then I change things and then I change things and then I think I'm done and I change things again.
I mean because you ended all like you end that was like when I the whole ending part, the welcome home stuff was that was what kind of got me into like wanting to know more because it ends on like this very it's happy and it's joyful and
Yeah,
it's calm again. But even though you manage to have such a wholesome ending, I still like yeah, but I want to know more.
there will be more in the next book. And
I've
like
written some points
especially
here. Yeah, because it ends
yeah.
with let's see what I wrote here. Yeah, the last sentence. Right now, she was happy to distract herself with work. The end.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, she's kind of back
Yeah,
into the same situation. Geekill will have some fun parts, including a meeting with her ex, which will be fun.
yeah,
E- And there is one character who is very minor in the first book. He basically only shows up in like the pub scene thing.
yeah,
Yeah, I hate him. He is very much based on my hate of my
yeah.
favorite character in the movie adaptation of the book. He will continue be a pain
Okay.
for all three of the books. He is one of the characters who will actually be in all of them, and
So where
he
are you in the process of the second one?
I am going through beta feedback.
Oh, so it's oh, but you're far ahead then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
cool.
I still have a lot of work to do to make things make sense,
Yeah,
especially since I want it to be like connected standalones. So I need to make sure that okay,
yeah.
if you haven't read the first book, you still understand, especially in the end when a lot of like older characters shows up, like Fubuki and Sander, and their talk about the orphanage things and all of. I think I will have almost all of the big families gathered in one place, but like from all of the places because there's a big thing which will add to the like demon lore. And also, if you remember the wolf
Yeah.
that attacked them, that will be relevant
Okay.
for a moment.
I'm probably gonna read the first one again when the second one comes out.
Might want to read it after you read the second one. See some extra things
See
because
what I
I have
picked up on.
sprinkled things
Yeah.
in the first book that are like this will make even more sense after the second book or
I can
after the
imagine
third
because
book.
there are certain parts in the first book where I was wondering, okay, so I'm guessing these details are relevant to something, but I don't know what it is yet. That's
Maybe.
fascinating.
And also like some things I was like, should I keep this? Like the whole thing that Geekel has been to jail for manslaughter of Bones,
Yeah.
but also be relevant because this third book will be going back and follow uh, Life Hazard, Morning Glory, and Commander Zack, as well as Dazzler. I hate him and Bones.
I love the relationship you have with your characters.
Yeah, I that's also something that changed a lot. Like the pub scene was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have it, but I want it. So I made like, okay, I make three characters for this one scene, Now two of them are the main characters in the second book, and the third is a piece of crap. And I strongly believe the reason I even decided to make more than one book was because I gave one of the characters a mohawk,
Yeah.
and I have a weakness.
There are certain parts in your um I mean, I couldn't help but like draw comparisons, but that's just because I'm me. But I mean, I read some, as I said, I saw a lot of the scenes like in pure, unfiltered anime style, but also parts of this world. I felt like I was having this top-down view of like Ragnarok Online. If you remember that game,
No.
you don't. Well, that's a classic. You have to do some searching later on. It's just
Yeah, I will have to.
it's a massive multiplayer online game in this anime style setting that me and my friends, we played a ton of it. It's so fun. I mean, the first game was like, I don't even know how to describe it. You have to look it up. It's awesome.
I will have to look it up.
I'm guessing people that have played it and hear this will like roll their eyes in contempt and in probably like nostalgic longing because that game was really good. And that and Maple Story was like the games for an anime geek. But I loved your story, and I long to read the because it's so weird because that's the fun part about exploring genres you didn't think you'd like yourself, and like giving me a chance to read this and appreciate it. And I thought it would it was like it was this perfect adventure. It
Thank
felt like
you.
watching like movies like Princess Mononoke or Spirited Away or something. It was like this you were really transported away to a fantastical place, and I could just let go for a few hours while I read. It was that's the best part, and that's like what I want to feel when reading, and that's why I love the world, and that's why I wanted to understand. Like you have to have lore for this because there's such depth in it, and there's substance here behind these characters, and there's like I view the places as you paint them in the story, and I have kind of a like a I remember when I read I had this roadmap. I know how this looks. I know this place. I have a like a my own, even though like they are on the front page. I have my own like view of certain characters, but I think you
Yeah, and
did a
then
hell of a good job.
I really tried, like, I need to make sure that we see the world from the character we're currently with. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what you feel about certain places when you see them from another point of view,
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
who
That's a cool
might,
take, also.
because while Fubuki is just new to everything,
Yeah,
Caleb is not. And Caleb is probably like the main character in the second book, the Mohawk guy.
yeah.
He's been around, he's a finder. He hates one of the states, everything about it. And I think that's might be interesting to see, like,
I will review them. I will do a three-part review when you release the third part, also.
yeah, that will be interesting. I haven't even started writing that yet.
If you even end on three parts, maybe becomes four,
It,
five.
it was supposed to be one, so
Yeah, because I mean that's the thing when you're writing like worlds like these with characters like these, like they evolve while you write, and you want to keep writing about them.
yeah. But I also have so many other story ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a few of them actually.
So
And
I
let me
should,
say that one of them I'm really peaked about.
yeah. I think, yeah, I'm guessing it's my pirate story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the one I'm currently like documenting everything because I want to do everything myself
Yeah.
apart from like editing. And I am currently like doing live streams writing, which is terrifying.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
uh, and like I'm gonna make the covers because I'm like, yeah, I want to make a Swedish version too, and I am very much a, okay, the translation isn't the same thing as the original, so it needs separate covers. And I also might have to write a song for it because I included insert lyrics to song here, and
Yeah.
that's fun. I do have like a dragon story that is just like, yeah, I know what this will be, and kind of a different take on like a typical romantic story.
That's the most fun part. Is like trying to distance yourself from the broader market so you can do something original.
Yeah, honestly, like the typical romantic thing is just like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna have a middle-aged woman who's just fed up and just like, I don't care. I don't even care.
I've stopped caring.
Yeah, and very much like Scandinavian folklore-esque things instead
Yes.
of like typical romantic things.
Yeah, dragons and elves.
Yeah, no, we
We've seen
we will
those.
have skogsrån and
Oh,
trolls.
yeah. I mean, there are so much creepy, daunting shit in Scandinavian folklore, like in Northern European folklore in general. I
I
mean,
think in
if anyone loves like to watch shows like The Witcher or you read the Witcher books and stuff like that, that's like drenched in Northern European Polish folklore and stuff like that. That is in that game we also have in Swedish folklore.
yeah. And, like, I feel like it's kind of me going back to my roots because I grew up with all of the, Bland tomtar och troll, which is also like, the pirate story will have a very much John Bauer type troll, kind of.
Yeah, because I mean, we both, but you more than me grew up the place we are in Sweden right now, like this middle part, right between the north and the south, in the middle, where these heavy forested areas and these mountainous ranges, that's like the most heavy on lore. And I mean, it's the thickest place in Sweden for old tales of trolls and witches and goblins and gnolls and fairies and ghosts and everything. It's so rich. And I mean, where you live right now, if you were to look outside your window, you'd probably see like heavy, dense forest, pines and
Uh,
firs, and I mean, around your house where you live.
eh, it used to be. A lot of it is cut down,
Yeah,
but yeah, there is a bit of,
it's
denser
like
forest if you in the right way.
walk up on a height and just look out. I mean,
Yeah,
you'd be counting trees till you
if I
die.
go that way, I have forest right outside my house.
And thick forest also, like a really dense fir and pine, right? Yeah. It's not hard to imagine, like John Bauer's fantasy as he was walking in the
No.
woods, taking. I mean, if you walk in a Scandinavian wood, like these fir and pine woods at night, you start to see shapes all
Yes.
around you. And
Yeah.
that's like, I mean, if someone listens to this will say, oh, yeah, right. But seriously, I invite you, take a walk in a dense Scandinavian forest at night and tell me you don't see shapes of things peeking out to look
Or
at you.
like evening,
Yeah,
especially like this time of year with some mist added to it.
yeah, or early mornings.
Just like driving home, sometimes I'm like, no, that was a big tree. That
Yeah,
was not, that could have been a troll, but that was a tree.
yeah. I mean, you get where the imagination comes from,
Yeah.
and it's mythical and it's mysterious. It's really old woods.
And
I'm
then there's
terrified of
terrifying
them.
things in there.
Yeah, like elks.
Yes. Yes. Oh my god. Ah, hate them. But I'm also very much like, I don't really get along well with hunters because I don't understand why you want to do something like that. So I'm like, leave them alone. Just don't come near me. You can be there. Just, just like spiders and insects. Like I don't mind you being there. Just don't be on me.
Yeah, I'm not big on spiders. I hate spiders.
There are worse creatures, like fire ants
Yeah.
and horseflies. Horseflies,
Oh fuck yeah, horseflies. Yeah. Oh, I forgot about those.
the worst.
Ugh.
And like those, you can't get away from them.
No,
They will just pursue you, and you can bike away from them because they are that fast.
I remember. I don't know where it was, but I saw this like I don't know. It was a horror flick, and I was like, I just started. like having this urge to throw shit at the TV. I don't know, it was this horror flick where like spiders were crawling into someone's mouth and shit. And I was like, I mean, fuck, that rubs
Yeah,
me the
no.
wrong way. Oh, that's like, yeah, I'm getting like lizard skin just talking about it.
I'm a bit more worried about the rats.
But that's like that was one of the scenes in my book where like these tiny creatures crawl into this guy's mouth and
Yeah.
uh, starts ripping him up in from inside, and that was like he felt it on his tongue and his mouth and everything, and that
Ah,
was like
yeah.
that was my fear. That was something I'm scared of myself. So that I
Oh,
really went
yeah.
into writing that scene as horrible as possible.
Yeah, and that was very much like, should I skip this? And like, no, no, I'm not skipping this. No,
Yeah,
things should
that's
not be crawling into people's mouths. That's
no.
no, no.
Oof. And then you get like then you get like you get hints of it having happened to a lot of people.
Yeah, like the reason I am pretty much like, yeah, I don't really like rats being near me or in the house is because I know my sister woke up with one on her face when she
Fucking hell.
lived at
Yeah.
home younger. And like, I can't tolerate you being in the walls. Just don't come out on this side.
You have an old house, right?
Yeah. And an old wooden house in the middle
Yeah.
of the fucking forest. So
That's like horror central. You're just waiting to walk up and someone's standing outside waiting for you.
honestly, I'm not worried about that. If something is out there, it's supernatural or an animal.
Yeah. I love
So
that you're
yeah,
saying it so calmly. Most people would freak out. Like if something out there is supernatural, is it yeah.
if there was some kind of monster out there, supernatural monster, what am I supposed to do? With a human, I could be like, yeah, this is I should probably have a fighting chance, and the elk is supernatural in its own way because trauma.
What would you have done against one of my creatures?
Uh, Not go near it.
That's
Get as
that's a
far
great
away as possible.
that's a great start actually. Don't go near it.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think it doesn't look friend shaped. So,
Yeah. And
but
I've
a
left
part of
the
me
yeah.
would probably like think, oh, maybe it's friend shaped.
Yeah, I've left them pretty ambiguous on the descriptions. And when I actually describe them, I do it out of the viewpoint of that character, and everyone has a different description of them. So I don't know what
Yeah,
you see when you read about them.
yeah. It is very much hints of like insect kind of part, which is the not so friend shape.
No,
But
they're pretty fucking evil.
like I am also the kind of person who liked to watch like the Brothers Lionheart movie and was like, Katla is the cutest thing alive. So
Oh yeah, Katla, yeah, the dragon, yeah.
yeah, the dragon. So I don't really trust my judgment when it comes to monsters and thinking they're uh,
But
cute or not.
these creatures are learning. I mean, that's the thing I try to hone in. Like they are as lost as the teens, and they have no
Maybe,
idea what's going on. And
maybe
they,
someone thinking their friend shape is what they need.
yeah, and I mean they are what they are doing is perhaps what they think is normal for them to do. Because I have this scene where one of the characters comes really close to one, and he kind of describes what he's seeing, and perhaps it isn't malevolent; it's just doing whatever it is it's doing because it only knows one thing. But
Yeah,
I left the origin very like you can figure it out pretty like I had a friend of mine actually who did figure out a bunch of stuff for about them that I didn't intend to. So I was like, yeah, sure, sure.
yeah,
That's exactly it. You're right. I was like, fuck, I had no idea. Um, but I did write some. I did actually consult a friend of mine who is a biologist on some of the mutations and the plague part of it, the mutation part, the accelerated cell growth and stuff like that. But there's more to it in the second one. but I still won't like give up. Like they aren't the main focus.
No.
It's the band of reject teenagers.
Like, I don't imagine I would like to keep one as a pet, even if they were friends.
Oh no, no.
That's kind of my idea of them. Because like some creatures is like, yeah, I would keep you as a pet. You are cute enough. If you were like cat size, perfect.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys that doesn't trust cats. Cats will
You
kill
can
us.
you can love them, but you don't have to trust them.
I mean, they will kill us
Probably,
if they are
depending on
like
the cat,
if they are like
because
yeah.
some cats are stupid.
Yeah, I think it's an act. They act stupid, and then when you're not
Yeah.
looking,
In that case, I think he's just plain stupid.
do you have cats?
No, I used to have a cat, and she was not to be trusted at all. But my mom has cat currently who is stupid. I have seen him try to like hunt a rock and miss. So yeah.
All right, probably won't split any atoms. But so what's
Yeah.
on your list of us to talk about now? Do we round it
I
off? Have we
I
worked through
think
your list?
I think we should start to round off, at least
Yeah,
so I don't have to sit for like a month to edit this.
yeah, we have like been through 2 hours.
But I actually like that's kind of my point with these author chats instead of interviews, to have it like,
Yeah,
if we go off track, it's fine
yeah, sure.
because
I
I really
think we've
like.
nailed the track pretty good anyway. We talked a lot of
Yeah, I
books.
think, yeah, we have, and I feel
And I
like,
think if I talk any more about my book or your book, we're both gonna like spoil stuff.
yeah, yeah, probably. So yeah, I think it's a good place to like round it off.
But I hope you like the ending when you get to it.
So I think I might have like an hour left. I do have one question that
Yeah,
I had almost completely forgotten, which
yeah.
is, do you have any authors you would like to highlight or spotlight or recommend?
Other than yourself,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I have Chris, my colleague. We have become like very tight friends. Chris Svedbacken is her name. She has written like in Swedish urban fantasy that is probably the best one I've read so far, as opposed to like Outside the World of Darkness series of books that I read in my youth. So I like to highlight her, and then I want to highlight my friend Madeleine Beck, who is also a horror writer from Gästrikland, who lives in Stockholm now, the trader. Um, but yeah, she got me over the threshold of like, should I? Is it meaningless to write a story like this in a setting like where I grew up, this small town? And then I kind of read her books that takes place in a Swedish town called Hofors here in Gästrikland, and she pushed me over the threshold. Like, no, you can do this. I mean, it's fully doable. I mean, look at all the other fucking stories. They all take place in small fucking backwater towns in nowhere that no one's ever heard of. So, yeah, those two.
Thank you. That was like my last question that I try to include every time. Just, and where can people find you?
I haven't. I probably best to like find me on Goodreads and on Instagram, and where you can find my Goodreads through my Instagram. And Instagram is where I do most of my publishing and where I like post and write with people. So it's at writer Oskar Östlund at Instagram.
Yeah, and I will link that down below as well. Thank you again for your time.
Yeah,
And for
thank
the
you.
people watching, thank you so much for watching. Have a great adventure, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.